Robert is making me do the intro because he thinks it will help his analytics.
I made this skull a long time ago, and the mold has since given up the ghost, so I need to make a new one. Let's do it. Dug through my funnel collection and picked out a couple of funnels. For the jaw, which is super light, a single wire is fine. So I'm just dipping into some CA. Just get that in there. For the skull that's a little heavier, I'm going to use 3 sprue wires. That'll give me plenty of support. How the part is oriented in space is super critical to how successful it's going to be when you cast it. Last thing you'd want to do is orient it in space like this with the teeth up, because you'd have to put a vent at the end of each one of these teeth, and here and here and here and here you'd have nothing but vents. Turn it over and suddenly it's a lot simpler to cast. This wire is nice and soft, it's easy to bend. So I'm going to come in at an angle like this. Looking pretty good. Now all we have to do is just wax it up. This part feels a little fussy along about it first. As the wax builds up, it speeds up. I got them waxed up. That should flow just fine. And I want the vent to come off the high point. Be right in there. You always want to attach the vent at the top of the funnel, not lower down, because you want a channel going out to the very top of the mold. All right, let's mix up some rubber. We're ready to go. As always, you know the drill. Pour from the bottom up. Let the rubber rise and let it push the air out in front of it. That's what does it. That's what makes this work. I always just guesstimate my rubber weight, just going on experience and hope. See if I have enough this time to pour this mold solid. As we get into the details in the face, it's extra critical that we let the rubber push the air out. Let that rubber flow down into that eyeball. Fill all the low points from the bottom up. Push that air out above it. That's really the whole secret. Now I'll see if we can't fill this nose. Well, I had to scrape the cup pretty good. But I would say that that's a pretty good job of eyeballing right there. That's about as good as eyeballing gets, kids. Oh, well, it's much, much better to be lucky than it is to be good. I waited all night for this. They are cured and ready to go. What's interesting to me is while the rubber is cured all up, these snurds, these drips, look at that. It's still just gummy. I mean, it's kind of cured, but it's really gummy. And the tiny little snurdlets haven't even begun to cure. Both resin and rubber cure better in a mass than they do in thin films. All right, let's decup these things. These cups are super brittle. You can just hear how brittle they are. Alrighty, let's cut these molds, clean them up, as I always do. Make them pretty. Let's see if we can liberate out the funnel first. All right, let me see if I can pop this. Came right out. It's always hard to begin. Don't get weirded out by beginning. It's always hard to begin. Trying to find the high spots on the part to cut to. They're the easiest place to clean. Now the question is, how much do we have to cut to free this kid? Oh yeah, we have one problem that we definitely have to do. We've got holes in the skull. To cut this hole free, see how I'm stretching the rubber in that bridge of rubber that's passing through that hole? Can you see that? See how I'm stretching it? I'm really, really stretching it, and I'll cut it straight across. Boom, now I cut in the middle of that hole, and that is how you cut a hole. It's easy. Don't be scared of holes. The only hole you ever have to be afraid of is the one they're going to bury you in. Okay, hole on this side. Again, I'm going to stretch it, stretch it, stretch it, cut across it. Nice, perfect. Okay, he should pop. As far as I'm concerned, there's no reason why he shouldn't pop. I think that was the last thing holding him in. Am I wrong? Am I right? There it comes. Beautiful. Nice. He came out clean. Oh, yeah. Look at that mold. Perfecto. The main thing to remember when you cut a mold is stretch the rubber, and then it almost cuts itself. It's very easy to cut. You can cut all over a mold with a cut mold, doesn't matter. In fact, it's often the way to do it. It's a one-piece mold. You never, ever, ever want to cut it into a bunch of parts. That's another reason why I'm not nervous about ruining a mold, because The truth is, you can kind of put a lot of cuts in a cut mold, and the only problem that gives you is it means you just got slightly more parting lines to clean up. I want to be up on the high spot. Why? Because that's where it's easiest to clean is sand. If you put the parting line in the middle of a depression or down in a hole, it's super hard to clean it, to sand it smooth. So I want my parting lines to fall on areas where they just sand off easy as pie. And whenever you're mold making and casting, you're thinking ahead to the next steps. Man, this is a simple part, but it doesn't want to come out. All right, be that way. I don't care. You can fight me all you want. You're going to lose. Sometimes I'm broken and beaten, but I always win in the end. All right, now I cannot see any reason why you don't want to come out of there. This is like a battle royale. There is no reason why that's locking, unless I'm missing something obvious. I will cut you all the way across this middle part here, right in here. Wow, now if that doesn't come out, I'll eat my hat. There we go. That was what was holding it. Whew. That was a BITC mother father. And that one fought me hard. Look at that cut. Look at that cut. All right, but you know what's great? You put it all together. You put gentle rubber band pressure on it, and it just falls together perfectly, just like it's never was cut. You can't even see the parting lines. That's what we like to see, invisible parting lines. All right, well, you fought me hard, you skunk, but I got you. Let's band these boys. What I'm doing is I'm tying a knot in the rubber band to make the rubber band fit the mold. Yeah, boy, I tell you what, I worked for about 28 years before I figured that out. Embarrassed to say, it's true. It was like a hallelujah moment, like I heard the angels sing. It's much easier to make the rubber band fit the mold than it is to try to build a giant collection of rubber bands so you have a rubber band for every mold. It's ridiculous. Don't do that. You don't need it. Look how clean those are. Can you see how clean those are? It's just scary. Look at those parting lines. Look at them. Wait. What's that? Oh yeah, it's an almost invisible parting line. Now remember this mold? We cut this upside down and backwards and forwards and front and around and around and around. See the parting lines on there? See those dogs? Look at all those parting lines. Look at what a mess that is. Look at that. Look at those things. I cut this mold in every direction. You saw me do it. Not a parting line in sight. Just the way we like it. Okay. Now we're ready to go mix some resin. I put condoms on my die. Ba-ba-da-biddy-ba-ba. All right, here we go. I got A and B mixed. We're gonna make a nice red, orangey, reddy color. Let's go for the big one first. I don't remember if I'm supposed to rock and roll this, kid, so I'm just gonna do it anyway. Rock and roll. Same with this. Here comes the jaw. This jaw isn't gonna suck up much res. No, it didn't. Just rolling it around in there, seeing if there's anywhere I can shake any bubbles loose, like down in those teeth and stuff. Fill it. I've got more resin in the witness cup than I'd like, but oh well. Okay, let's get these over to the tank. Check out the resin kicking in that cup. It's already like almost past syrup and getting into gel stage. Pretty cool. Hep! Look! Check of the witness cup. Here we go. We're hard as a rock. Let's yank this boy. All right, let's see what we got. Which one should I pull first, the skull or the jaw? Let's start with the jaw. Remember that mold comes apart in 4 chunkies, like that. Look at that thing. Nice. Like then, first of all, notice the hideous, terrible flashing, the parting lines, a giant, big, gonky looking clay up, nasty parting line that comes from a 2-part mold. You see all that? No, you do not. You're looking at about as close to a flawless piece of cut mold casting as you will find. If this doesn't persuade you to try cut molding, I can't help you. You're beyond any kind of salvation. There is no hope for you. I preach and none of you listen to me. Look at those parting lines. Do you see parting lines? Do you see cut marks? I think that right there is the only place I caught a bubble. I don't see any others. Beautiful. Wait, Oh yes, there's one on the other side too in the same place. So I got to rock and tap a little more to dislodge that air bubble down there. Made a black version of it. This casting was even cleaner than the first casting. I rocked the mold quite a bit like this and tapped it a lot. I was doing a lot of this, boop, 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 just doing this nonsense to knock the bubbles out of those teeth, and that was largely successful. So I'm thinking now, next step, let's paint these just for fun. Got your beautiful Krylon Fusion. Let's paint this thing black. And you're saying to me, wait a minute, you got a black one, why are you painting the red one black? Just hold your horses there, kids. My favorite thing about this paint, this Krylon, is dries super fast. Super fast. You're wondering why the king of no gloves is wearing gloves. This is exactly why, right here. I knew that I was going to be doing this. And I don't get spray paint on my hands any more than I want to get resin or rubber or anything else on my hands. That was black on red. This is going to be silver on black. Let's see if we can do a little painting magic here. Let's have a wet wipe and a dry wipe, and let's see what we can get here. It's the old spray paint wipe-off technique. How much you remove and how many times you repeat this process is entirely up to you. You can do this with any color combination pretty much. This is just such a great cheater technique for getting, really high contrast paint on a part. Works like a champion. Now you might like them better without paint on them. You might want to do your own paint thing, but this is an easy, cheap way to have fun with paint. Nice. Loving the red skull. Let's do the silver skull. Actually, I think the silver skull is pretty cool. Just the way it is, it's cool. Didn't show you the Q-tips on the red skull, so we'll do some Q-tip action on this one. Let's get this rag well soaked in acetone. You just kind of a light wipe, and you just have a mostly silver skull. You come in here with the Q-tips to get the details, like in the eyes. Just go down in there with the Q-tip if you want the eyes to be nice and contrasty. That's a good thing about this technique. If you don't like what you do here, you can always spray more paint on or dunk the whole thing in acetone, clean it off. These pieces have dried, and now we're ready to attach the jaws. So I'm just going to drill a hole. I want there to be quite a bit of friction holding these nails in, because wherever you place it, I want it to hold that position. Nice. Hey, I think these came out pretty good. You like these? Yes, I do. I like it very much. Me too. If you like this video, watch this video next. I hope you had some fun. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. I have no idea what to do with this.
Welcome to hell.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hello.
The hills are alive with the sound of music. La 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 la.
Crap, crap, crap.